In the 9th century, the Khmer Empire was the largest civilization in Southeast Asia. Under the Khmer kings, great temples were built, initially to the Hindu gods, although they were later converted to Buddhism. The greatest of the temples are those at Angkor Wat, but far to the north lies the 1200-year-old Preah Vihear temple. In the early 1900s, modern Thailand was known as Siam, and Cambodia was under French protection. Siam and France made an agreement to define their boundaries, primarily by reference to natural features, including the watershed line, which is the line marking out the catchments of two river systems. According to that agreement, the temple would have been in Siamese territory. The difficulty is that while natural boundaries give a great general understanding, they're not very helpful when it comes to marking out precise boundaries down to the metre. And so around 1904, Siam asked France to provide surveyors who mapped large parts of the border. They provided maps to the Siamese government, and those maps were in official use for many years. The thing is, when they surveyed the border on the ground, they placed the Preah Vihear temple on the Cambodian side, not the Thai side of the border. Fast forward to the 1950s, newly independent Cambodia sent personnel to the temple site, only to find there were already troops from Thailand in the area. Both countries claimed ownership of the temple and the area around it. They were unable to resolve the dispute, and so Cambodia took action in the International Court of Justice. The court agreed with Thailand that the maps which placed the temple in Cambodia had never been formally agreed to in a treaty, but they found that because for decades Thailand had used those maps and impliedly accepted their accuracy, it was now too late to challenge them. The court said Thailand recognised the line on the map as being the frontier line, the effect of which is to situate Preah Vihear in Cambodian territory. Looked at as a whole, Thailand's subsequent conduct confirms and bears out her original acceptance. Both parties, by their conduct, recognised the line and thereby, in effect, agreed to regard it as being the frontier line. From this case, we learn that national borders can be established by treaty, but also by conduct of the nations who share the border.